Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you guys are well wherever it is that you may be around the world. Please make sure that we smash that like button. Let's get this up to 30 likes as the start, and then we work way to 50, and then we get to the magic 100. But also, please share on your socials, because today's show is going to all be about not only a little bit of news in regards to players that may potentially be leaving Chelsea, a little bit of news about transfers that we're going to be looking forward to, hopefully in the summer, coming to Chelsea, but also talking about Roman Abramovich. There's been a lot of talk around Roman Abramovich, and a lot of people have reached out to me and said, Jem, we want you to talk and speak about the Roman situation. So today is the day where we'll talk a bit about it, and we're going to open up the lines, and we're going to have the panel, and we're going to allow people to get involved in these topics as well, because it is something that needs to be addressed. It is something that we need to share our own opinions on. None of us are in a position to be certain in what's going to happen in regards to Chelsea and Roman. But what we can do is give our thoughts and feelings in how we feel about the situation. The Roman topic is going to come a little bit later on at the end of what we're going to be talking about before we open up the lines to that. But we're going to start with going through, like I said, a little bit of news on Christensen and Azpilicueta, a little bit of news on Koundé and Tchouameni, some other little links here and there as well. But make sure that you hit them likes, guys. Get them likes up. Let's get them likes up. Subscribe to the channel. And let's cue that intro. Yes, people, welcome back to GNA TV. I hope you guys are well wherever it is that you may be around the world. Big up everyone that's already in the chat. Nearly over 20 of you guys here already. Thank you for tuning in as always. Before we delve into the topic today, we will be doing at some point tomorrow, I'm not sure what time, whether it'll be late afternoon or early afternoon, the preview for the Luton game. As always, has to be spoken about, even though people may think it's like, I can't be bothered. We will be talking about that tomorrow. But today is everything around Chelsea, everything about Chelsea, everything that we can sort of talk about really up to now in regards to Roman Abramovich. Like I said, we'll be talking a bit about that later on. Azpi and Christensen is what we're going to start with. Couple other bits as well in regards to transfers for Chelsea as well that's come out today. So lots of that to go through, but make sure, like I said, we keep getting them likes, subscribe to the channel, sharing your socials as well. Let's let people know that we are currently live as we speak. And I'm going to go through the chat in a second, but I've just got to quickly do something before we do that. I am going to open up the lines as well, guys. Do not worry. This is going to be open to you guys as well. Give me 2 seconds. Right. Let's big up some people in the chat while there's more people coming in still. Big up to Josh in the house. He's sorry for not tagging you earlier, bro. Honestly, my life is mad at the moment. I'm like 1,000 miles an hour. So when I'm trying to tag people in the stream on Twitter, it's hard to always remember everyone. But big up to you. RD, nice to see you, bro. Hope you're well. Big up to Concierge with Crime in the house as well. Ben, man like Wheezy, the Mason Mount defender, a bit like Johnny, loves it. Is here as well. Big up to Fraser. If Roman sells, I hope he sells to Middle East Arab who want to spend. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to talk about it into depth. We're going to go into depth and we're going to dig into it a bit more a bit later on in the show. Declared, big up to you, my man. Nice to see you. Top Bins. Blake, nice to see you, bro. Remember, which could sell Chelsea to Mike Ashley. Can you imagine that? I don't think that will happen. I don't think that happened. Big up to Bobby as well in the house. My man, Couch Critic, is in the house. It's been a long time since I've been on Couch Critic's channel, but make sure that you check him out as well. Over 31 of you here. Couch Critic, literally, it's his name. If you write on YouTube, it comes up. I do shows over there with him as well, so you can check that out. Another person that is on his road to, I think, 300 subscribers is QNTV. You can go and check him out as well. If you haven't already, go and make sure you subscribe to him as well. Great Chelsea content. Big up to Rodrigo in the house as well. Daniel, he goes, we aren't selling it to the fat clown. Hey, we get that. Redneck, big up to you, my man. Big up to you. Redneck, I've just literally seen your message. You can come in a bit. I'll drop that to you later in a bit, mate. Just let me go through the usual, like I always do, as you know. Yeah, man. Who else have we got here? Noah, big up to you. Big up to you. Good, save it. I want to know what it is once we've gone through it all as well. We'll definitely be delving into all of that very soon. The Ukraine president is a Jew and Roman is a Jew. Ukraine asked Roman for peace and Roman is trying to make it happen. Yeah, I read that yesterday. Obviously, we did speak a little bit about it yesterday as well. You know, there's a lot of like pros and cons to the whole Roman scenario thing. And to be fair, a lot of it, I think, is journalist talk. Don't get me wrong. If this is true, it's good news in terms of Roman, because one of the things that this country is looking to do is provide heavy sanctions against him. Again, we're going to talk a bit about that later on in the show as well. But to be honest, until proven guilty, I don't think it's going to be an easy thing to do. I know the Everton guys had his what's his name? He's had his accounts frozen, hasn't he? So in the UK already. So whatever they found on him for them to do that would be quite interesting to know. Big up to Abbas as well. Nice to see you in the house. Nippon, nice to see you. Why aren't Israeli football owners as players being sanctioned? Good question, Matt. Good question as well. Big up to everyone. Usmanov, that's it. Got heavy sanctions by EU, Jim. He can't travel. Yeah, the EU. Yeah. He had his accounts frozen by the EU, but I thought his accounts were frozen by also us in the UK as well. Was it just the EU? Didn't read it properly. I'm not going to lie. Again, not my chairman, so I don't really care too much. But before we get into all the Roman stuff, we're going to talk about quickly, as I said, a bit of transfer news. But we're going to obviously big up this first because it is someone who's very special to this football club's 30th birthday. 30th birthday. Eduard Mendy, happy birthday to you. His birthday today. Obviously, look what he's done in the space of this as well. UEFA Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, FIFA Club World Cup, African Cup of Nations, UCL Goalkeeper of the Year, Best FIFA Men's Goalkeeper, AFCON's Best Goalkeeper. Man like Mendy, I keep saying it, he's world class. For me, he's the best in the world at the moment. I know a lot of Liverpool fans will disagree and say that they still think Alisson is better, but for me, maybe there's a bit of bias in the way that I see it. He is the man. He is the man. So for me, Eduard Mendy is the best in the world, and happy 30th birthday to the man himself. Big up to him. We move on from that into a little bit of transfer news. Big up to VJ in the house as well. Just seeing him pop in. TCFC as well. Josh says happy birthday to the king. Big up to him. Right, let's go into a little bit of transfers. In regards to the transfer news, we're going to start. We're going to use Absolute Chelsea's pretty much timeline of today, just to go through some bits and bobs that he's obviously tagged enough. And see, the first one that we're going to talk about happened 3 hours ago. This was reported via Sports Witness, who have come out and really said that Chelsea have made contact with Monaco's Aurelien Tchouameni. Thomas Tuchel wants him at all costs, and the player would prefer a move to England. Now, obviously, it could just be journalist talk, don't get me wrong, but in regards to who has reported it, Delaro Sport, quite a big platform, and Sports Witness as well. You know, this you're going to see a lot of this. You're going to see a lot of people linked to Chelsea, not linked to Chelsea, etc. With Tchouameni, I always feel like there's a good opportunity that Chelsea may go for him over Declan Rice, not only just in regards to the value difference, even though it's not massive if Tchouameni is worth 70 or 80 million, or if that's what Monaco are actually valuing him at, but in terms of the agent, because the agent that Tchouameni has is the same agent as who Koundé has. So for me, if Chelsea are going to get Koundé done, and it looks like touchwood that it's going to happen, we're going to talk a little bit about Koundé soon as well, then this whole Tchouameni thing, maybe wanting to look at him and thinking, yeah, why not? You know, and also the fact that him potentially saying that he wants England. I mean, if he wants England, who else is going to buy him? And when you narrow it down, I don't see Liverpool doing it. I don't see Man City doing it currently with the players they have, unless they offload a couple of players in the summer. I look at Manchester United, and I don't think he's he is the type of player they need in terms of the holding position. They could potentially go for him. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know whether he would want to go. I don't think many players would be attracted to Man United at the moment in terms of how they're set up and how they run and how things are going there at the moment as well. You know, if Chelsea are knocking on the door and Man United come knocking on the door, I do think at this moment in time, players like Tchouameni will look at Chelsea and go, yeah, that's where I want to be. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see who we end up going for, because it's definitely an area that Chelsea are going to be looking to sort of bring in, if that makes sense as well. So we'll see what happens with that. So we move on from the chew up many topic and we move on to Jorginho. Obviously, Juventus will probe for Chelsea's midfielder Jorginho in the summer. The Italian could be tempted to return to the Serie A, as the club could offer him a 4-year contract and are willing to spend 20 million to get the deal over the line. Now, 20 million euros, I think's a little bit too low. Why would, I do think that's a little bit too low. Now, obviously, it's reported by Italian journalists themselves, so tutojuve.com. So, all right, fine. I always thought that Jorginho would potentially find himself back in Italy. Why wouldn't he? His native country. He'd probably want to see it out. A bit like what's going to happen with Azpilicueta if he goes back to Barcelona in Spain. But in terms of Jorginho going for that value, I disagree. 20 million euros is something like 18 or 17 million sterling off the top of my head. Let's have a look, actually. What is 20 million euros? 20 million euros in pounds. What is this? It's 16.654 million. 16.654 million for a player that has been in his prime. Who's been in his prime, you could say, or in his best form, shall we say, in the last, year, over a year now, you could easily say, with Jorginho. There's no way in hell Chelsea and Marina are going to sell him, even at the age of 30 years old, for anything less than at least 30 million sterling. I think, personally. And that's sterling. I'd be shocked if we let him go for 20 million euros. Even 25 million euros. That's pushing 20 million sterling, or just over. I just don't see that happening. I just don't see that happening. And why they think that that's an amicable figure makes no sense. Is that the Italian club be tempted to return to the Serie A, as the club could offer him a 4-year contract and are willing to spend 20 million to get? I think they mean to spend 20 million euros to get the deal over the line. Yeah, that must be what they're valuing him at. That's ridiculous. Big up to Devin in the house as well. I hope you're well, my man. Alex will be happy Jennifer might leave in the summer. He could. His wages aren't that high, but in terms of value, I do think he's worth more than that. Hockey in Ukraine is staggering, especially in football. Strange that nobody in. Sure is. Yeah. So we move away from this topic of Jorginho potentially going to Juventus. I disagree in terms of the value. Could it happen? Yes, because I do think he'll head back to Italy at some point. What is this? What is this? 1 second. Someone's just telling me something very weird. Very weird. Very, very weird. We move on from this. And then they've also highlighted the opportunity of Adrien Rabiot, who could be used as a counterpart, as he is liked by Chelsea and could be considered functional for Thomas Tuchel's side. There is no way in hell, and I'm going to say it now, that Chelsea passed Jorginho onto Juventus and switch him with Rabiot. That makes no sense. It literally makes no sense for us. He is not good enough, number one. Even though he's an okay midfielder, he's not at the level that we need, or even the profile of midfielder that we need at this football club. I don't think, even if this is true, I don't see Chelsea wanting him. I don't see Chelsea wanting. I think Chelsea would just sell him for a lot more than what they're obviously willing for, and use that money to potentially accommodate buying other players, maybe DMs or whatever they're going to do with it. So, interesting stuff there. Thomas Tuchel will hold his press conference tomorrow at 1:30. We'll be doing the Luton preview hopefully tomorrow as well. Not sure what time yet. I'll have to let you know if I can get it in. It might be later. It might be earlier. I'll have to let you know. Then there was lots of talks in regards to Thomas Tuchel today. I'm not going to read all of this because this is not what I want to get into. But then we're going to get into the talks about Christensen. So, in terms of Barcelona and Mr. Krusty the Clown, Barcelona received a verbal okay from Chelsea's Andreas Christensen ahead of his summer move. A 4-year contract is practically agreed and just needs a definitive signature. I think he's going, man. The more and more I keep seeing this, I think he's leaving the football club. To be honest, do I even care too much? No. I know there's a certain individual that loves this guy to the moon and wants him to stay. But, you know, at the end of the day, he is shy. He is shy. He's actually shy, this Rabiot guy. He's not bad, but he's just not Chelsea quality. You know, this is not really shocking news in terms of what's going on with him. I'm just kind of waiting for them to confirm. And then we also had this news as well. Andreas Christensen's move to Barcelona is dependent on a final meeting with Chelsea where the club will make one last effort to convince him to stay. He has made his mind up to move to Spain, despite the Blues putting pressure on him to stay. So we have asked and we are trying to keep him. But his mind is made to go and play for Barcelona. Maybe he wants a new challenge. Maybe he just wants to get on with something new. Fair enough. But he's never been proper Chelsea, this guy. I'm sorry. He hasn't. He may have won things for Chelsea here and there. Done what he did. Certain competitions he did even play in, and he still got a trophy for it. Fair enough. But for me, he can go. If you don't want to wear the shirt, you don't want to play for this football club, if you want a new challenge, go. He's not going to be a legend. He's not going to be anything like that. He's just going to be a player that had a good little stint under Tuchel. That's it. That's all I'm going to remember this guy for. This is literally all I'm going to remember this guy for. Sportsmixers talks crap. They reported Haaland's father wanted him at Cito's favourite. Yeah, I know. This is why I'm saying I take it like a pinch of salt. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, we move. I mean, again, I think there's some more talk on this as well. If we move back from it, there was also, so that's that one. That's that one. Yeah, so no, that is it. That is literally it when it comes to Christensen. In terms of Chelsea, we are going to have a final meeting with him. We're going to offer him probably one more deal to stay at the club. To be honest, if this guy's walking around behind our backs, signing away with Barcelona and, pretending to be injured in finals so that he can go and watch Barcelona play and stuff, then that's cool. But then I don't really want to see him play for Chelsea. I don't. And I do think he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. As much as I have my things with him, don't get me wrong, I do think he's a good defender. I just don't think we need a defender at this football club that's just doesn't want to be it. So, have the final meeting. But the difference between Christensen and Rudiger is that, hopefully, fingers crossed, Rudiger will stay. But Rudiger's always made it very clear that he loves this football club and he wants to be here. This guy's not once come out and said, I'm in love with this football club. It'd be nice to stay there. Do you know what I mean? Like this, I don't get that feeling from it. I just feel like he's very snaky. The way he moves around. He just moves like slithers like a snake. And then he pretends he's injured or he's got a headache or his bum's hurting him or his ankle's hurting him. And I just can't bother with players like that, man. I truly can't be bothered with players like this guy. Big up to Simon in the house as well. Nice to see you. Over 76 of you guys here. We've only got 21 likes. What the hell? What am I looking at? Everyone hit that like button, please. Everyone hit that like button now. I'm looking at it. I ain't continuing the show until I see this over 30 likes. Hit that like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I thought we'd be close to 50 likes by now. Over 80 people, 21 likes. That's offensive. I hate having to have to keep checking this. Guys. Come on, man. 28 likes, 30 likes. Thank you. Let's try and get to 50. If you haven't hit, please hit the button. Big up to Owain as well. Andreas Christensen is a very important asset to Chelsea because he's good rotational backup, and he has been good where starting. He wants a new challenge, and that you don't want a player. He wants a new challenge, and that you don't want a player wants it. Yeah, he wants a new challenge. Fine, go. Do you know what I mean? Big up to Bex in the house as well. My man QNTV is in the house as well, guys. Make sure you go and follow him. He's 3 subscribers away. 3 subscribers away from, I think it's 300. Let me have a look. I need to make sure this is right. Okay, I don't want to say this. Let's have a quick look. QNTV. He's on 297 subscribers right now. Yeah, I'm going to put the link in there to his channel. If you can get him over that mark, that'd be great. He does Chelsea topics, Chelsea content on an evening basis. Links there. If you haven't followed him already, go and follow him. Come back after as well, please, and get him over the 300, please. Get him over the 300. He's a good friend of mine as well. Big up to him as well. Let's move on from this. Let's move on from this Andreas Christensen topic. We're going to move on to Cesar Azpilicueta. So Barca have told Azpilicueta that they are prepared to wait for his final decision regarding his Chelsea future. They are confident after tabling a contract until June 2024 with an option of a further season. If Chelsea do not offer him any more than 2 years, or that second year, we say, he's going. At the moment, Chelsea have offered him the 1 year. He doesn't want it. He said, I'll stay, but just give me the 2 years. Give me more than the one. You don't want to have to keep worrying about this contract. On the flip side, he's got a team like Barcelona who are willing to bring him over here and give him a contract until June 2024. You know, that's what he wants. He wants that 2 years. And that's via Fabrizio Romano, and Chelsea are not giving it to him. Do I blame Chelsea for not giving it to him? No, because as a rule, Chelsea as a football club do not like to give contracts for players over the age of 30 more than 1 year. So if we're going to follow that rule, relevant if he's a legend or not. Don't get me wrong, we've done it to John Terry, we've done it to Didier Drogba. We let them go and we brought them back and they stayed another year. I'm talking about Didier Drogba basically on this one. But we've never given these legends and whatever that opportunity. And why? Because I think we do need to move on. I think we do need to move on. I think we do need to start looking to the future. And it's not that to say that Aspi's not a great player. He's a great servant, but his time is probably coming up now. He's done in many ways. And Chelsea need to start looking ahead. But at the same time, you want to have the experience. You want to have players that are going to help the young players that come into this football club, you know? Do you know what I mean? Big up to QNTV. Big up to DJ Subjay in the house as well. We should give him 2 years. He should stay. We need experience. And that's the only thing I agree on. The experience element, I agree. You know, you bring in a load of youngsters with the lack of experience. You look at what experience we currently have at the moment. If Jorginho and Azpi leave, let's just say, for example, you're left with Thiago Silva for 1 more year and he'll be gone. Romelu Lukaku, who, let's be serious, is a bigger baby than the youngers that we've got anyway. So he's not really a massive leader for me. N'Golo Kante, who's not really a leader. Alonso, who should be gone in the summer. Who else have we got? Mateo Kovacic, maybe. You know, we haven't got that experience there. So I understand it. I understand it from that instance. Let him go. His time is up. Not sentimental, is what Martins is saying. Barca is his home country. It must be tempting. Of course it is. I don't blame him. He wants to go. That's fine. No issues. I personally believe Alonso's performance in the final warrants him a new contract. Rebecca is trolling. We've already spoke about Andreas Christensen, mate. And if you'd have read what I had already brought up, he's already kind of committed to the contract at Barcelona. Chelsea will go in one more time, final meeting, to try and persuade him to stay. But his mind is already apparently set on leaving his football club. And if you don't want to be here and play for this shirt, the shirt behind me, these 2 shirts, for example, then go. Because we don't need players here that don't want to be here. That's it, Lewis. That is it. Yeah, Barkley needs to go as well, you shit. Yeah, Lewis has got to do a stream, farewell stream. Unfortunately, his boy that he says is a legend is not a legend. He's not even going to be anywhere close to that. He's going to be remembered for having one good little stint, winning the Champions League under Tuchel, and that's it. But he'll never be a legend. He's committed to sign at Chelsea before. Words don't mean anything. You just keep telling yourself that, my friend. You just keep telling yourself that. But the difference with at least Rudiger's coming out and saying that he loves being here. I'm back. I'm here. I thought I cut out then. What's going on here? So at least Rudiger has come out and said he wants to be at Chelsea, wants to play for the shirt. Of course he does. He wants to be here. Makes it very obvious that he wants to be here. This guy dodges to play finals when he's required to play, or has a headache, or is unwell. Come on, man. You're better than this. Oh, what's going on? 1 second, guys. 1 second. I'll be back. Am I clear? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Am I good? I'm back. I don't know what happened, but I'm back. My internet just bugged. Badly bugged. But yeah, back to what we was talking about just now. I had to refresh my internet. Sorry, guys. So I'm back. Relax. Sorry, guys. Sorry. It's my internet's playing around today. It's having one of them days. Yeah, so Cesar Raspi could potentially be leaving the club. If he does, like I said, I have no resentment to that. We move. I want to talk quickly, not what Frank Lampard's saying, because I don't care what Frank Lampard's saying. I want to quickly talk about this one as well. Chelsea are in ideal position to sign Jules Koundé in the summer, as Juventus have tried to sound out the situation. They do not stand much of a chance, as the Blues are so advanced in their efforts to sign Sevilla's defender. It's like Jules Koundé's already got his mindset. He's literally got his mindset of being at this football club. Leave it out, concierge. I don't usually have that bad Wi-Fi. You know my Wi-Fi is usually bang on. Don't do this. Here comes all the jokes. Very funny, guys. Very funny. Very, very funny. But in terms of Jules Koundé, I keep saying it. You know, it is, for me, almost a certainty. And there is a player that's wanted to be at our football club even last year. Last year, he wanted to be at Chelsea. Yeah, he didn't get it. And you could see how upset he was. This year, he's still pushing to be with this football club. That is a sign of a player that wants to play for us. Wants to be here. Wants to be in that Chelsea shirt. So we'll have to see. We have to see in regards to the Jules Koundé topic as well. So we move. Last one here. Tammy Abraham at the moment does not seem to have any intention of returning to England, as a return to Chelsea is only possible with Abraham's consent. So he won't go to England. But if Chelsea did want him back, shall we say, then it would obviously have to have his consent, which is common sense, obviously, for him to return. I don't think he should return. If I was him, I would stay where I am. What am I returning for? You know, he's banging in goals over there, playing well under Mourinho. That is a ridiculous comment there. That is so dumb. Sorry, Fadil. That is definitely a trolling comment. Yeah, probably. We got rid of Tammy Abraham to bring in Lukaku. Tammy Abraham scored a bit more goals than him. What's going on, man? Also, I'm a bit worried about Koundé red cards. I hope to. Nah, he'll be all right. He'll be all right. Did you see the red card last time round? He literally didn't even touch the guy. He went like that, fell on the floor and got a red card. Well, it was a second yellow, wasn't it? It wasn't, man. Tammy, you stay in Roma, mate. We don't need you over here. We don't need you over here. Right. There you go. There's the news on transfers. We're going to talk a little bit, like I said, about Roman. The topic is about Roman Abramovich. How I feel about the situation since we've all heard it. What I feel is the scenario. And obviously open up the lines to get you guys involved to have the opportunity to have your say as well. Now, we did also see this pop up before we go into it from the beginning to end. But Chelsea trustee members considering quitting after concerns over whoever running a club as part of the foundation will be compatible with the charity law. Options include replacing them, going ahead with a smaller group, or a new model entirely of running the club. Well, how true that is, I don't know. Everything we do understand from the situation is that Bruce Buck is responsible for the day-to-day runnings of this foundation. It's been put on him. Now, whoever these 6 individuals are, that are supposedly meant to be, running this foundations, may be worried that they might be exploited by the charity law itself. And if that's the case, then they'll have to review it. But then I don't understand why the foundation would have been set up if Chelsea themselves didn't do these checks with the charity law anyway. So for me, this comment here doesn't make much sense to me, to be honest. You set up, you've given 6 people responsibility of this foundation, but the 6 people you've given it to, are one or two of them are worried about being compatible with the charity law. Why didn't they check this before creating the foundation? It don't make no sense to me. It's a really weird situation. But in terms of Mr. Roman Abramovich, I have got something here, actually. 2 seconds. Let me get this out. In terms of Mr. Roman Abramovich and the news all around it, we'll give you guys the opportunity to come in and have your say as well. But make sure we keep getting them likes up, guys. Let's get over 75 likes. Over 100 of you here right now as well. Big up to everyone that's already here as well. If there's anyone new, big up to Don1 as well. Nice to see you in the house. Yeah, we will. We'll be dropping the link very, very soon in the next sort of 15 minutes, I'd say, at a max. And then you guys can come in for the next hour or so and share your thoughts and opinions as well. In terms of when I heard this news in regards to Roman Abramovich and him creating it, because I know a lot of people were asking me to do a stream on this and I hadn't had the opportunity to do it. I tried to stay away from it, to be honest, because I'm not really into the political side of things, to be honest. But I saw a lot of Chelsea fans and rivals using this situation as a reason to say that Chelsea are finished, Roman's going to sell, this, that, and the other. When the comment came out about Roman Abramovich announcing, the foundation, the charity foundation, and passing certain parts of the club on to this foundation, it made sense. At that point, Roman Abramovich was under scrutiny anyway. He struggled to get into this country due to his visa. And then on top of that, he was also being searched with sanctions, maybe some heavy sanctions, which still could happen, going against him as an individual. And if you think of the build-up, especially in the English papers, I'm talking about the Telegraphs, the Daily Mails, the Suns, and all of these sort of big-named profile, big name newspapers, they were all resenting, even though they were talking about Roman Abramovich, they were all linking it to Chelsea. And I think him making the decision to pull himself away from that, or pull them with him, but pull away the attention from Chelsea, made sense in doing what he's doing now. Not only, and this is why I want to talk to you guys, not only is it to do with him being under the heat, him potentially having links with Putin, maybe having some sort of involvement in regards to the Russia-Ukraine situation, which we all know is still going on. And they're looking into it, as we know. But Chelsea have been built up to this point for the last 20 years. And in the last 20 years, there's an infrastructure and system in place at our football club where the group that are involved in this football club from the business side of things are all key parts, they're all key components to how the club functions. How the club functions on a day-to-day basis is relied upon not only Mr. Roman Abramovich, who we know is still the owner, and is still the owner, even though he's passed this on, he is, let's get it right. But the individuals that are around him also have responsibilities. Now, some of them responsibilities, and the reason I know this is because I did speak to someone that actually works at Chelsea Football Club, and they were actually told about this a couple of days before, or I think it was a couple of days or a week before this had came out. So they were ready for it. They were just told not to say anything at the time. They knew the situation at Chelsea. This was going to happen. It was amid to be set up. In terms of why it's also been set up, not only to drag away the heat, which is currently on Roman at the moment, but there's day-to-day things that need to be addressed at the football club. And it's now got itself into a position, the club itself and the business side of it, where certain individuals that Roman trusts can make decisions without having to speak to him. So now what he's doing is he's saying, look, here you go, take this. Here is your responsibilities. You know, this is what you can do. This is what you can do. Don't need to give me a call. You can't even get into the UK anyway. It's only phone calls and maybe emails that you can get hold of him and whatever else. He's given parts of the club to six members. One of them obviously being led by Bruce Buck. Emma Hayes is apparently supposed to be part of this as well. Marina Gavaskaya and Peter Cech are responsible for the players' ins and out and the dealings of the managers at the moment, parts of it. He feels that he's in a position where the club can kind of run itself a little bit, where a decision can be made on a day-to-day basis that doesn't have to always need him to sign off. He trusts the people at the club, and he knows that, and this is the thing, he knows that if something did happen with him in regards to British government and Roman himself, he knows that the club itself could probably sustainably run itself comfortably, providing like things like accounts, British accounts that he might have, where he may be paying players, managers, staff, are not frozen. So let's get it right. He's definitely transferred a lot of what he's worried about across to this foundation for then these people that he trusts to take control of these situations. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think what he's done is, again, to protect the football club. I think he always tries to put the football club first. And do I worry about him potentially leaving Chelsea? Not yet. No, I don't think he will be getting anywhere. Yes, he might get pissed off that he can't come into this country. But this guy has loved this football club and shown it, not only with his money, but his actions along with it. Not only his money, his actions along with it. And when people ask me, and you see rivals, and I've seen it on Twitter Spaces, this, that, and the other, saying, Roman's going to go, Chelsea are going to crumble. Let me correct you right there. Because Chelsea, as a football club, because of what Roman Abramovich has done for the last 20 years in building what he's made, which is an empire, it's like building an empire. It's literally like that. Whoever comes in and takes over the football club, once that day comes where he does sell it off, will be richer than Roman Abramovich himself. Because two things. One, Chelsea owe Roman Abramovich £1.5 billion. Two, Chelsea as a football club are valued in the regions of around, I believe, 3 to 4 billion at the moment. So you add the value of the club that's been built over that period of time, and you add the debt that's owed from Abramovich in, which, let's be serious, I know there's a lot of talk saying that he's going to wipe it off, he doesn't want it back from Chelsea. He will charge whoever takes it over that cost 100%. He's not stupid. He'll want his money, especially if it's a very rich owner. The individual that comes in cannot be your standard millionaire. It has to be a chairman of the size of a Newcastle owner. It has to be. It has to be someone with serious money. And that's why I'm saying to you guys that when he does move on and he leaves it to whoever he leaves it to, I don't think we have to worry, because not only would he not leave it knowing that it's with the right individual in terms of financially, which I think he would, the person that comes into this football club may not want to have that much of an involvement, but may only want that involvement to be more than just to do with their money. In terms of the day-to-day things that were required to be done, which is what I've just spoke to you earlier, I think the foundations and base of our football club have already been set. I think for the last 20 years, the build-up, not only to get Chelsea winning and be successful like we have, is to build an infrastructure, a system within Chelsea Football Club, that can run itself. Because it will get to a point where he's not always going to want to go into his pocket. But I do believe that this club could probably survive without him for a year or two. If push comes to shove, I think we could get on with things. Because he's built that. He's got people around him that he trusts. the club itself financially would be able to deal with it, selling players, clearing out the wages, whatever. They would always still make money, Chelsea. It wouldn't be, pull the Roman out and pull the plug and we all just fall down the aisle and Chelsea, someone's going to have to buy us for £1 like we did back in 2002, 3. That's not going to be the case. And that will not happen. And the best example I can give to someone in regards to what Roman's done with this foundation is a typical business example. You're an owner. It's took you 10 years to get your company to a point where you need to get it to. And within them 10 years, you've had people come in, come out, leave, come in, come out, leave. You've never really been able to trust the base. And then one day comes along as an owner, and then you find that you're going away 3-4 months a year, 5 months a year. Yeah, the business is running itself. Why? Because you've got the individuals and the structure in place that you trust and that are good at what they're doing. Because you trust that individual to make a decision, even if they can't pick up the phone to call you. That is what he's done as well. That's what I'm trying to explain to people. That is where he's gone with it. I don't think he'll be selling it anywhere anytime soon. No way. But if heavier sanctions come in and it does get push come to shove, and he can't physically invest in this club anymore, then maybe that day will come. The day will come eventually where he will. And I don't blame him. Or he won't. And if he don't and he sticks by it, fine. If he does, he will make sure it's in the right hands. But the base will still be there. And that's the biggest thing. Because whoever comes in with the funds would love to have a base. Would love to have the organisation, the people that know the club, the ins and the out. It makes that, if you're a billionaire coming in to invest in the club, it makes life so much easier because you have people around you that understand the club, that understand Chelsea. And that's why I'm saying to you guys, do not panic about one day Roman Abramovich going or leaving. He will never leave this club in any bad way. It just won't happen. It just genuinely won't happen. And I believe that he always thinks of this football club. I do. Yeah, we're on our road to 4.6k at the moment, guys. If you are new, please subscribe. I am going to open up the lines. I've done a lot of talking, as you can already see. See what some of the people are saying. I'm going to put the link in the chat as well. Send it to some individuals that wanted to get involved as well. Let's give it to Alex because he asked me earlier. There we go, Alex. If Roman sells the club, no American owner unless you are Amazon or... Exactly, and that's my point. We are valued so high because of how we've been built over the course of the years that he's been in control, that the only people that can come through the door and run this club have to be richer than him himself, have to be of the size of someone that's even running Newcastle at the moment. That kind of money. I'm talking about pissing money. Like literally, money is not an issue. It has to be. Big up to Real Chris in the house as well. He also does have the oldest son. His son could maybe pass it on to his son, but the foundations are there. Maybe. I don't know. He has run the club he has. He's definitely run the club like this for a long time. One day sees my assets as they're setting up as bad as president. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with this country. The only thing that holds me to this country is family and my missus. Otherwise, I'd be out of the door. I would not be in this country one bit. That would mean that 100 million Chelsea fans would have to pay £15 to pay the debt. It's not going to happen. But Chelsea are giant revenue. Well, that's what I just said. Did you not read? Did you not listen? If you've only just come in and you just haven't seen what I've said for the last 10 to 15 minutes, go and listen back to what I said in a bit. I ain't going to go through it again, but agree, Jim, but this is the worst time for this with the losses suffered from COVID. I don't think so. Again, I think we were at a point where we've built and sustained such a platform as a company, as a business, that I think we'll probably be all right. The link's in the chat, guys. As always, come in and get involved. We've only got 56 likes now. I want 75 likes. Who can get me up to 75 likes? If you ain't done it, hit it now. Let's get it up. We can talk transfer news. We can talk whatever you want. Talk whatever you like. We could talk whatever you like. Yeah. Tuchel just went off in the press conference. Never seen him vexed in an interview. Why? Why has he gone off? Bex, let me know in the chat. Smash the likes and subscribe. Why has he got the ump? Why has he got the ump? All right. We got Josh. We got Alex. We got Rodrigo. We got Declared. And we got Hassan. How we doing, guys?
Oh, good.
What's up, man?
Big up.
Yeah, not bad, mate. Not bad. I know Alex wanted to start this because he wanted to talk about this Roman situation. What are your thoughts on it, Alex?
Before I say, I need to say something. I am Russian, so don't shoot me.
Don't apologize for being Russian.
What a surprise!
But my mom is Ukrainian, so I have both things and to be considered. But anyway, as it is true that Roman was in Belarus when that meeting happened between Russian and Ukrainian. Roman was present, but not in the meeting. He was in the city because they met on the border. The reason what they was actually saying on the news, which is funny because the Russian propaganda news channel that they did it, they couldn't understand why Abramovich was there. That's the biggest thing that I understood, from the Russian perspective, because they're like, why? What Abramovich has to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If it's a surprise for that channel, believe me, Russia One is one of those channels that completely nothing wrong that done in the government. So if they questioning and pretty much laughing why Abramovich is they can't understand why is that, what is that has to do with anything, why is he get involved in a peace thing. So if they are concerned, if they are surprised, I don't understand where people think that Abramovich has to do anything with Ukrainian war.
They use him as
you see what I'm saying. So
Alex, wasn't it supposed to be something about because he's such a big name in the Jewish community that he was helping broker between the two Jewish communities of Ukraine and Russia? I think I read something about that.
That's another biggest misconception. The Ukraine president, it is of Ukraine, it is part Jewish. It is true, but even him was not good on the Jewish community. They were not actually favor of him because the way he was. I'm not gonna go into history because there's a part of Ukraine that does not support Jewish things and stuff like that. They do have problems with it, but I'm not going with it. So I don't understand even from the Jewish part of it. Maybe because even Jerusalem is not 100% back in either Russia or Ukraine. They're kind of neutral in that situation.
Yeah,
well, I think most countries are doing that though, Alex, aren't they? They're not some. Most countries
actually not most countries. Most it is like most how you say it, Western countries are back in Ukraine.
No, they are, but they're not. I mean, in terms of action. I mean,
what do you want action, man? What do you want action? Do you want the troops on the ground in Ukraine?
No, I don't want to I don't want to go political because it's not a political show like that.
Because no. Look. The people don't understand. West can attack countries that, let's say, don't have army. Like United States could attack Iraq. United States can't attack Russia. They just can't. If you do,
yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You know that, but people are saying like, what action that UK can do? The only action you can do is send troops onto the ground on Ukraine.
But
that's declaring World War III. But that's declaring World War III.
Yep, I declare.
You know,
it is. This is how you declare. Another thing is, I don't care what people say in Russia or Ukraine. I'm against the war. It's any part. And at the end of the day, in the history books, in 100 years, in 1,000 years, if we survive, if we survive, because I don't think it's going to be at that point. It will be a point where people go, it's not going to be who's right. It's going to be who started.
Yeah.
And it's it. So I just don't understand people saying like, do you just, if you're looking from the Russian, not defending Russian, if you're looking from the Russian perspective, and they see how West is united by giving them all this weaponry.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they're gonna be more aggressive and aggressive and aggressive. It's literally no win from this situation.
But they're not even compromising with each other anyway, Alex. Are they? You know, it's like
it's it. Well, they give the Putin told them this like months ago. He sent the letters for 3 countries, power: NATO, EU, and United States. Those red lines you do not cross.
Yeah, but Alex, one thing I want to add to that as well.
I'm not saying Russia is right either.
The existence of powers or NATO or any alliance rely on having a common enemy. So the risk that we're running now is to paint any sort of successful Russian as this evil. There's an undertone that we need to condemn. Like with Abramovich, for example, I'm just gonna stick with Chelsea. Abramovich, maybe at the beginning of his career, maybe he made his money making deals with the Russian government. That's how he became rich. Fair. But there's been a significant distance from him to the Kremlin. So even the effort that he's making now to at least try to broker a deal, you can see the media, especially the media that were, you can hear every time they keep bringing his name. They need to sanction him. I was watching today a conference. There's a passionate Ukrainian lady. I felt watching.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was mentioning Abramovich is in London. He's not in London. He's not even allowed to come to England. And I know maybe because he's a famous Russian because he owns a big football team, but there's a lot more to this. I don't think in the case of Abramovich, at least from what I've read from the story, I'm nowhere near the region, but from what my research I've done, I think it's not as close as people think he is.
Exactly. That's my point.
Have this misconception. I think
that's my point. That's why I was saying, because even the Russian news, the number one propaganda Russian news they were surprised.
Yeah.
First of all, this is lie. This is lie, Fraser. This
what?
Well,
this one.
Well, Gregor, you answered your own question, though.
Wait, 780s? No, Abramovich is born in 1966. He was 16 years old in the 70s.
Yeah,
I mean,
how can
like,
I want to stay on the. I want to stay on the. I know we're talking political.
That's so stupid. I
want to stay on the because in terms of what he's done, in terms of trying to protect this football club, do you think he's made the right decision to set up the foundations and pass?
No, the foundation was already there. He just
but to do it at this point now,
okay.
you know,
to transfer it, he's done the right thing, because if he kept it and he got seized, this club's gone. You can't do nothing about it.
Exactly.
He's had a 3 years head start. So this has happened to him when he lost his visa. So I'm pretty sure he put steps in place. But we all know.
For all we know, he could have gave his 150 million house to someone that he knows and then takes it back after a bit. He's probably given all his properties to different names.
Listen, I told you guys
that
I think that he's not only done this just because of the potential of heavy sanctions going against him from British government. He's done this because
to deflect.
He
wants to deflect from the club.
Of course, but what you should got to bear in mind is, and I keep saying this, that Chelsea have built a proper foundation over the course of it. He trusts people at this club now to make decisions on a daily basis that need to be made. Yeah, there's a lot of things that go on other than just buying players and selling it. You know,
I'm going to question that, Jim. I'm going to question that. Just because I think where we are as a football club right now, we're still very much dependent on Roman. We're trying to be self-sufficient, but if you still want to be European elite, we're dependent on Roman's money.
Investment.
Financially, Cash. I think you're right.
Champions League 1 year. What happens? We start buying like drink waters and that's the difference right now.
Couch is right, because
but we're like on a knife's edge in terms of like whether or not
we do rely on his money, but what you forgot is what he's built in the last 20 years.
No, I'm not questioning that. What I'm saying is, if we were without Roman for the next 2 to 3 years, given the climate that we're in right now, it would really damage the club.
I think the climate's making its way back, Couch. I don't see COVID being spoken about in the UK anymore.
Bro, he's going to have to underwrite again this year. He's going to have to underwrite again.
For example, if we buy somebody and
a couple years ago,
if we're buying somebody doesn't work out, that's a loss that you have to generate the money from somewhere.
What? Sorry.
For example, if we buy in a player and it doesn't work out with the player and we don't get the goals that we're supposed to get it in that year, that's coming as a loss. So somebody has to invest the money again.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you do know the club has money. It doesn't just come out of Roman's pocket. It doesn't. It's not all of Roman.
It does come out of his pocket.
Can you give me? Wait a sec. It's not Roman. Can you give me £10 so I can go and get some
sweets?
Bro,
it's not £10. It's £271.
No, I'm just giving you an example.
No.
I'll show you guys the article. The year after Sarri, we were in debt to Roman again, another £271 million after all the investment we made that year.
Yeah, but you're talking about.
That's because you need big money signings.
I'm talking about what, sorry?
You're talking about the signing of big players with high values. I'm not just talking about the high value players. I'm talking about the everyday goings of the football club.
Yeah, but if this club is supposed to survive and thrive, how are you going to survive and thrive, be it European elite, if we're not getting investment like that?
So well, you could argue we didn't spend any money this offseason, and we sold 100 million worth of players.
You think this is a sustainable model?
Aspect of
you think that's sustainable?
There's a narrative that's going around about Chelsea being a toxic club, and sponsors must start dropping the name Chelsea because of the supposed link between Roman and Putin. That's another aspect. That's another income stream that. Hopefully, it's not going to get to that stage, but that's probably why Roman, why he put the club under protection. Because okay. Who's singing?
Sorry.
Nathaniel.
I've been depressed for a few days, man. The ref played Liverpool. It hurt, man. Seeing Kepa penalty.
Just keep singing, Nathaniel.
Seeing Banner Boy Mount, that fool. A British fool because he's British. Get away with it. A British banner boy, man. Get away with it.
Hey, Nathaniel, what's your thoughts on the war and Roman?
Oh, Roman.
Yeah.
We need to see. I've heard Roman's doing some things behind the scenes to try and get this war to stop. But people are jumping to conclusions just because he's a Chelsea owner. But that's nothing to do with football. But I think Roman's a good guy, and he's just what's it called? He's not even involved really in it. He's just trying to stop it really.
Hey, I laughed a bit when he said he's a good guy. I laughed a bit. I ain't gonna lie.
He's a good guy, but what's it called?
Not many people get to meet him.
What's it called? I spoke to Bram. I spoke to Bram the other day. I spoke to Roman about the other day, and he told me how Banner Boy Man might get sold because of the Carabao Cup final and the 2 cities.
Oh yeah.
Come on, we're having a serious talk.
Jam, I think it's time to say goodbye and bring the VJ.
Yeah. Where's Potter?
Nathaniel, have you just come here to tell? What is it? We're having a serious
conversation. Lukaku, Jam. I'll come here to say
please, Jam, bring
Lukaku
VJ.
was onside. Lukaku was onside, and he scored the winner. So Lukaku scored the winner. That's all we need to talk about.
And he's sat bench the whole game because he's been pooed.
The title of the video should be Chelsea 1 Liverpool 0. Lukaku scores the winner. That's what it should be.
That was yesterday's stream. We done Liverpool stream yesterday, man. We're not talking about Liverpool today. We're talking. I'm past that.
Sorry.
I'm trying to move on. Yeah. I mean, go on. Who else wants to talk? Who else wants to talk?
I mean,
I was just going to simply say
one more thing. Sorry, one more thing. There's no.
No, Nathaniel. Sorry, mate. Man's not too bad. Let's go.
No. I'm just saying. There's no.
I was going to sum it up.
Taking me off today.
You know the cancel culture is really ramped up when you just brought up how they're going after sponsors. I even saw, even where I'm at, alcohol,
in Russia,
stores, removing Russian alcohol. It's gone insane. Look, we got to understand that Roman's the most famous Russian in England. That's why he's getting all this heat.
He's the
Got
most
nothing to do
famous,
with him.
arguably one of the most around the world, man. He's
That's
famous
why
in
his
more
name's
than
being
one.
thrown in there.
The funny
got
part
nothing-
is the
it's
vodka
because
is named Russian, but it wasn't made in Russia. Most of the Russian vodka
No.
does not get exported. There's European copies of vodka, and they actually literally stopping European vodka to be sold.
I'll ask you this question: are you guys worried about Roman Abramovich potentially selling this football club?
No.
Of course,
I'm not
I
worried
am.
at all.
Because there's so many owners. Even though you brought up even more rich owners, the Kroenke's got more money than Roman, and you see how he spends it.
Yeah.
So for me, we had the number one fan of the sport, and
I just hope it's not American owner.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Because an American
I
owner
would be like-
come in and
Because
have different interests.
the difference between Roman and every other owners, Roman actually likes the game.
Yeah.
He
that's
really
true.
likes the football.
Yeah.
If you like, I don't think even a city or like you just don't see that.
Elon Musk. Living hell. No, Elon Musk.
No.
Right, even if Amazon get us, yeah, they're so rich, they want to make documentaries, they want to market it. Every American owner wants to market it in a crazy way. You don't want
the
to
only reason why I will like Amazon because that will be the first sport that he actually owns, because he doesn't own any other sport. Americans usually owns a lot of sports in the US, like
what I'm
football,
saying, Alex,
basketball, or
is
baseball.
If I'm a billionaire, whether I'm a Saudi Arabian with loads of oil money, or if I'm an American with I don't know whatever, with billions of money from retail or something like
sell
that.
money.
All I'm saying is that if I'm the next owner of Chelsea Football Club and I'm going to invest my money, I want the foundations to be there. I want people that know the football club to be there. I want it to be set. It makes it easier for people to come in with that type of money. And yeah, all right, they're still going to be the main point because it's their money. But at least they've got people around them that understand how to run. And I think that's what Roman's done. I think we're set in a way where people that are in this football club and the responsibilities that they have are important individuals.
Somebody just said, like Elon Musk to buy it, and Fraser called it Mars FC.
He does want to go to Mars, doesn't he? He said it. Has he been to Mars? I think he's been to Mars.
Red Rocks.
What do you mean he's been to Mars?
I saw he said he's been to Mars, hasn't he?
No.
Jam, please.
I think he did go after he smoked. After he smoked a bit.
Are you guys now worried about the government is setting and seizing citizens' assets? You think it's a good thing, a government to take someone's asset without due course?
From someone from Australia, can you give me more context?
Yeah,
Go on.
I'm just saying, in general, what's your opinion on a government seizing citizens' assets without going to court and having a proper due
process? But they're the government; they can do what they want. That's the problem.
The funny thing is, they're both like they're just as big as the law. So basically, when you prosecute them, I think they're under their Majesty's name. So you're technically going against like the Majesty, and otherwise like under her title. So
why
you
are
can't
you
even
putting my name on the screen, Jam?
What? Sorry, I'm not even looking at the.
The funny thing is, bro, if they want you dead, they want you dead.
I mean, nothing to it, but I was like, what?
Sorry, guys. I was doing something.
One thing. There's another thing that Abramovich can do. He can leave it to his son.
Yeah, he can. He can do that. That's another option.
Yeah.
But will
That's actually his long run. That's actually his long plan.
I mean,
he's a big fan of Chelsea.
Hey, Jen.
Yeah. His son is. He grew up with Chelsea. He was a little boy. He was always.
I've seen pictures of him, but
Alex,
he was
when he started.
in Chelsea.
He was a kid. He was a kid when he was there at 2012. He was there in 2020 won the Champions League. He was there for most of
it. If they leave it to his son, it doesn't absolve the optics of everything. So it won't alleviate any stress on the club. It'll just.
What is it you're worried about, Couch? Specifically, I'm trying to understand what is it that you're actually really worried about? Because it seems like you're quite.
No, I'm more of the opinion that like this, if he gets sanctioned, and he can't make investments in the club, that's a dangerous situation for a Chelsea Football Club.
They'd have to sell it, wouldn't he?
I would think so. I would think
But
so.
if
Because
the asset is
if he
frozen,
can't actually
you
make
sell it.
investments, what is he going to do?
But if you have your asset frozen, you can't sell it.
What do you mean?
No.
Yeah,
If your asset is
but he's
frozen,
already
you can't
passed
sell
on. He's already passed on the stewardship, though, right? Isn't that
No, he's
part of the
passed on the
reason why he's done
stewardship
that?
to
Yeah,
eliminate
stewardship,
that.
but not the ownership.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well-
he's now relinquished control, but not ownership, right?
No, he's still
No,
he's
no,
still
no.
entitled
He's
to the
basically
owner, yeah.
put his name, he's put his business name onto someone else to run.
Yeah, but the ownership is still in his name. He just
It might
made
be,
this.
but what-
He just put the CEO. He just made CEO. He just gives CEO to run the company.
Wait, can I ask a
That's what I'm
question?
saying.
To,
He can just put it. He can put someone else on the ownership. So even if it's him and there's other people named under that ownership, they can't freeze it completely, can they?
Right.
Wait,
Well,
can I ask-
how do we think this
they can
club is?
freeze his money, the ones that UK can freeze, but he's not. What Couch saying it's true. But they can only freeze his money that are in EU under sanctions. For example, EU, all the money that he has in some banks in EU, they can froze it.
Yeah,
Actually,
but
not,
they've already
not even
have.
EU because what's the name? He's not the UK is not EU anymore.
No, we're
Remember,
independent
you
now. We're
Brexit,
independent,
yes.
yeah. We're independent,
So what
yeah.
happens is if his money is other places, he can invest, but it can't be directly from UK. The ones that UK. That's
Yeah.
I'm not a financial guy, so I'm not
Let's be
gonna
honest.
be.
He has assets in the UK. He doesn't have money in the UK. His money is in much different
Yeah.
places than in the UK. But
I'm gonna give you an example.
how do we
I
think
mean-
this club has been?
I don't
being
think
run?
Israel
Like,
will freeze Abramovich accounts.
No way, no way.
He's
He's
a,
a heavy
he's the
investor.
citizen.
Well,
You
I'm- yeah,
cannot
I'm on-
sanction your
I'm on-
citizens.
I'm on Company's House right now, right? And when I look at who's got ownership,
Yeah,
of
that's why
Chelsea-
you should
Chelsea-
put VJ back instead of
Well, wait,
Latino.
I'm just
VJ
looking at
actually
it. It says Chelsea Football Club Limited,
financial guy.
yeah? And then it says the people that are actually that own it right now: Mr. David Barnard, Bruce Buck, yeah, and then you've got Marina Graviskaya on there as well.
Petr Cech as well.
No, and Jonathan
Yes,
Guy
Peter
Lawrence.
Check it is.
Yeah,
Peter
he's
Cech.
under the name as
No,
well.
he's not on the list, but he's one of the guys that actually.
I'm actually
gonna
on
run-
Company's House now. I'll show you now. So you can see.
yeah, he's not on that chair board, but he's one of the guys helping with the day-to-day football
yeah,
operations.
day-to-day, yeah. It was.
But he's not on
So-
that charity board.
So when you go here, these are all the people that have resigned as people that are members of Chelsea Football Club. As people can see, look, Chelsea Football Club, yeah, 36 years.
No.
Yeah,
They
fines
not.
on that.
Look. It's not on those guys either. They just said they resign because they don't think they can run day-to-day football. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
seriously, man.
wait,
Yeah, I
can I
mean,
just
like,
ask a
like,
question?
you gotta
remove this guy, man,
Chelsea
or you-
fans.
It wasn't me.
No, man, we're
It's
trying to talk
Nathaniel,
serious
bro.
now, and this guy's like making jokes.
It wasn't me. Why would me?
Yeah,
Look, can I-
your thing lit up, bro.
You're Samuel.
Yeah.
You've done it like a few times now.
No, I was gonna ask a
Can-
question to all the
Jam.
Chelsea fans.
that's it. Yeah. I
Bring
remember this
VJ,
now.
please.
Like, how do
VJ
we
Smith.
think this club has been being run in the past? Like, it's not like Roman is in the office every day, pounding away. This
I'm
is the
saying.
board and the chair. These things have been running the club sustainably for a long time now. When they need an injection of cash or they want a big transfer, they probably go to Roman, ask him what he thinks. Hey, can we get this? And he does that portion of it. But to think that he was like daily taking phone calls about the club and this and that, I think is absolute ridiculous.
I
Like,
mean, to be honest, like,
any of the big decisions, he was definitely involved in.
yeah,
oh, no,
but
he's involved
those
in
are
all the
mostly
big
like
signings.
big transfer decisions. Like,
I
the
think
day-to-day operations
yeah.
of the club have been being run
If
by the
you-
board
I
and
mean,
the
I
think
trustees
big
and all those
decisions
guys.
Josh,
will
are you
run-
saying it's all smoke and mirrors then? Because that's kind of
Yeah, it's absolutely. That's exactly what it is. It's just a way for him. I think someone said earlier for him to kind of get attention off of the club in this sort of light. It's like, let me take a step back so that my name's not being mentioned with the club every day, and when things cool over, I'll be able to work my way back into it. But I don't think it's changed one thing about how the actual
What's Samuel
club is
doing
being
here?
Yeah,
run.
do you think it
Josh,
will work?
Wait, what's Samuel doing here?
Josh, how
Sammy,
effective
Liverpool
is that
fan.
though? When guys like us who just watch football can see right through that.
Right. Well,
Exactly.
because it's kind of what you have to do in the situation. Like, it's just part of the
There's a
game
lot of-
plan. Like,
Yeah.
But isn't there laws against to protect charities? That's what I think they're relying under.
There's a charity law,
they
yeah.
can't-
they
you
can't
you
seize
can't
the charity
sanction,
kind of thing. I
what's
think
it
is
called?
what,
Hey, I got a
what I
question.
read.
You can't
Yeah,
sanction
so-
Samuel. Samuel, how does it feel that you paid a ref to beat us?
I've actually
come
come
on,
here
man.
on here
Man,
What the
and
hell is
actually
this?
been
I'm gonna
respectful.
leave
I've been
again.
respectful. I haven't even
No, you
talked
haven't.
about the cup final. I haven't
Oh,
even talked about
Nathaniel,
it.
Nathaniel,
just
you're
What's
like a
your
day
thoughts?
late,
stop
bro. What
starting
happened?
it, man.
Nathaniel just wants to troll all the time. That's what he wants
Listen,
to do.
Nathaniel,
Bro,
I
it's
would deal
Liverpool
with
fan.
you later on. We're talking about something else. I want to come here and understand something because I think I forgot the guy that's next to Jem on the screen. This guy's name's
Josh.
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 Josh, yeah. Because with what you said, I think what Roman did. How would I put it? I understand he had Chelsea's best interests at heart, but did you really think that was going to work? Because England were really pressing on him to sell his assets in England.
No, they're not.
Yeah, I don't.
Not
Yeah.
England.
No. He's talking
No,
about
they're
probably
not.
in the early days.
Listen,
saying that.
The UK are playing.
Abramovich is not under sanctions.
Yeah, the UK
No,
are
what
playing a
I'm
game.
saying,
Not at the moment.
The
100%,
UK
I
are
never
playing a
said he was
game
under
here too, right?
sanctions.
Alex, you're not listening.
UK
Alex
are
doesn't
big-
listen. Alex, he
Guys,
said
name,
they,
lads.
they,
I
they're
never said
pushing.
he was under sanctions. I said it was pressure, not under
Exactly.
sanctions. There's two different
Exactly.
things.
Well,
Exactly.
listen, the UK are playing a game
Pressure
here
guy
too,
will
right?
not,
Like
give him
they're trying to
put him
do
under
what they have to
sanctions.
do to look good in the
Yeah, they
geopolitical
have to look tough.
landscape. Like,
Hey,
so
yo,
if
Samuel, you
they
do
have to
know.
come out and say like, hey, we're putting sanctions on people,
That's
like
true.
he's
Yeah,
had sanctions on him. The man hasn't been able to be in the country for the last like 4 years. Like
it's not nothing
he's
new
not.
to him.
There's
Exactly. Yes.
right. There's
Josh,
nothing going on with him that's new, in my opinion, that wasn't already going on. Like they have to sort of play the game as well. Like there's pressure being put on the UK by NATO and things like that to sort of
Exactly,
like
Bobby.
imply these sanctions and do
Bobby's
this and
right.
that. But
Yeah,
there's
Bobby's
no
right.
real, again, I don't think there's any real change that's happened with what he did. He basically just kind of took his name out of the picture here. And of course, we're going to talk about it because we're Chelsea fans. But
guess what? We're still using oil from Russia. We still have gas coming from Russia. So
right,
all these talks are just big talks to appear to be doing something because they know deep down there's little they can do. Even the talking about taking people out SWIFT system and so on and so forth. Because I work in banking, I know what SWIFT system is all.
right.
They can't really do much. They can pretend to take some banks, small banks, but the big player, they're still gonna get the money. Everything is still gonna run as it is. But obviously, it's a shame.
Here's the news to all the Europeans. You depend on Russian gas 40% of your continent. 40% of European continent depends on Russian gas. You can't find it.
Yeah, you can't substitute it.
No, you can, but it's going to be more expensive.
And this is
You
exactly
can't.
why the UK
You can't.
and
You have to
Germany
build a
are kind of
pipeline
like
coming
youth
from
when
where?
it
Wait.
comes to food
What's
right
your
now.
point, Alex? What's your point? What's your meaning to it?
You're getting gassed up, Nathaniel. That's what they're saying.
I want you to be gone. That's what I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to know you.
Alex, he's this young kid. Just he needs
I know,
teachers. He
but
needs lessons. You know, he's getting a
it's
lesson. He's got a pen and paper. I'm sure he's taking notes.
Here's the thing. There's when somebody wants to learn, they usually when they want to learn.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to just quickly show you this.
I'd
Quickly. I don't know
ask
whether
the
I'll
VJ.
get copyrighted for this quickly.
The VJ is actually a finance guy, and he can actually tell me about
Hey, yeah,
financial.
Jim, I got to jump in. I'll jump so VJ can get on. He knows a lot about this shit.
That's fine. This
Come on,
Alright,
Josh.
big up,
You're
guys.
getting short end of the stick, mate. You didn't get
I
tagged
was
today.
going to actually
Josh.
offer
Yeah,
something.
Josh, big up, Josh.
Yo,
I was
Nico
actually
was
going to
vexed
Josh,
already,
big up,
man.
Josh.
Look at his face.
Big up, Josh.
He was pissed. Oh, I love.
Oh,
Right,
man, this is
let's
gonna be
watch
good.
it. 1 second. Let's just watch it. Just 2 seconds. Just be quiet. I want to watch it. Why VJ's? I think VJ's coming as always. Put him back. So right, let's just quickly watch this.
Thank God, VJ.
Just on how passionately you spoke a moment ago about the horrors of war. How much do you hope that the owner is using any?
No, listen. You have to stop. I'm not a politician. You have to stop. Honestly, I can only repeat it, and I even feel bad to repeat it because I never experienced war. So even to talk about it, I feel bad because I'm very privileged. I sit here in peace. And I do the best I can, but you have to stop asking me these questions. I have no answers for you.
Okay, thanks, Dan. Last two, and on the game, please. Jerry and Nizar. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
Yo, John, that was like, it's like,
It was
Chris,
Chris.
that was like,
No, I
yeah,
100% agree
he
with
was
you.
annoyed.
Shul,
The reason why
because
he's annoyed,
why are they
because
asking him
he reminds
questions
you of
about?
someone like, wait, hold on. He reminds you of someone like, what's it called? That's like Alex being a reporter, just asking silly questions. Like, who asks?
Oh my god.
Who asks?
Nathaniel,
Bro,
stop
you've been saying
trolling. Stop trolling
bro, you've
people,
been
please.
saying silly things. He hasn't said anything to you.
Stop it.
Hey, yo, relax, man. Stop.
Anyway, I want
trolling.
to talk to VJ because VJ's here now. Come on, VJ. What you got to say, my man? Let's hear it.
Hey guys, a lot of spicy
Here we
discussions, if I have to put it that way, about Roman and the situation of war and all that. First of all, I'll make it very clear. I'm not going to be talking about the war because different countries, different people have different opinions based on the geographical location for them. So that's their perspective, and I respect that. So I'm going to stay away from that. But what I actually wanted to talk about was with respect to Roman Abramovich and this situation, right, with Chelsea Football Club. So this is again what I was able to explore from the internet, whatever available data is in terms of the club news, right? Because we know news about the club that the club wants us to know, right? Let me make that very clear. So talking about Chelsea right now in this situation, yeah, this was actually, for me, the stewardship being sent across to the Chelsea Club Foundation was more of taking the pressure away from him, not anything more than that. I still think the operational work that was involved in Chelsea Football Club was not something that Roman guided it. I get that, but he wasn't the person who was making the day-to-day operational decisions. So I don't think so there is anything that is drastically different. And I think even today, Thomas Tuchel confirmed the same. In terms of the work that is getting done in the club, there is nothing going different, right? So I think that makes sense. Nothing in terms of operational. Nothing in terms of operational work is getting impacted because of that. But what gets actually impacted, or what might get actually impacted, would be the capital that comes from Roman, right?
Right.
And when we talk about the capital, in essence, it is not directly coming from Roman. It actually comes from Camberley Investments Limited, right? So Folkestrom funnels in the cash to Chelsea Football Club through Camberley Investments Limited, right? So in essence, what it means is Roman Abramovich owes Camberley Investments $1 billion, right? It's not Chelsea. You could say Chelsea owes Roman Abramovich $1 billion because the subsidy is Chelsea. But in essence, what it actually says is Folkestrom Limited, which has close to 5 to 10 entities, not even 5, 10 to 11, 12 entities in it, right? Owes Folkestrom Limited. I mean, basically, Folkestrom Limited owes Camberley Investments $1 billion, right? And that could be, I could even list out the companies, right? Folkestrom Limited, Folkestrom Developments Limited, Chelsea Car Parks Limited, Merchandising Limited, PLC Limited, Football Club Limited, Women Football Club Limited, Leisure Services Limited, Dortmund Limited, Chelsea TV Limited, Blue Spice, Fulham Limited, all these, right? There's another 4 or 5 as well. If you check the account statements, you'll get to know what they actually consider as a group, right? So what in essence I like to say here is one thing. Let's be very clear about is a lot of people are afraid, if Chelsea Football Club goes to a different goes to a different owner, Roman can just pull out the cash, or he might ask Chelsea to pay the remaining money. I don't think so. It's very easy. It's more of so even in the account statement the last year, it is clearly written. One of the line actually reads saying that the amount that is owed to Camberley Investments Limited is expected to be paid in 18 months duration, right? So there are proper legal languages associated with it, so it's not probably going to be as simple as it is what we might make it out to be. And one more thing with respect to Roman in this situation is that we also had to understand what type of sanctions is probably going to be levied on by the government on Roman, right? And the sanctions could be anything. I think already one of the sanctions is being levied on Roman Abramovich, which is called the travel sanctions. But travel sanctions is not the only type of sanctions. You've got export control sanctions, capital control sanctions, trade sanctions, asset freeze or seizure sanctions, embargo sanctions, all these types of sanctions. Right?
Okay, explain which ones would involve money.
All of them would actually involve money, but export control would be more of the the trading side of things being very difficult for the pertaining owner.
So which one would stop him investing into our club? Which zone?
Exactly. I was getting to that, right? There are two types of sanctions which I think, if it was levied on a Roman, which would be very difficult. One would be capital controls, which basically prevents him from investing into the country or into the club. And if there is a capital control sanction being levied upon, it's going to be very difficult for him to funnel in the money. And then the next one would be asset freezes or seizure sanction. So asset freezes or seizure sanction is nothing but where you have sanctioning jurisdictions can be actually seized or frozen, preventing their sale or withdrawal. One thing this will prevent, or which is a bit secure for Roman here, is that the asset will be froze, right? The asset will be froze, which means that they cannot put in money or take out money, or the assets cannot be sold or done anything. Basically, it's like sealed, right? It's basically a sealed asset. You cannot do anything with it. In this way, the club will be safely in hands of Roman. But in essence, you cannot do the operational activities involved in the club on a day-to-day basis.
Exactly.
Right? And that is why him distancing himself from the football club becomes a paramount importance. And this is what basically people do whenever they are sanctioned, or if they know they are going to be sanctioned from their asset. The first step of from their end would be to distance themselves from the asset, because that would allow the business continuity plan for the asset to keep going on, right? And I think that is what basically Roman has done here. This has happened in the past as well with respect to Force India. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Question for you, real quick question for you. If Chelsea Football Club have so many other different entities set up, different entities set up, like you said, Forstrom, you rang out a couple of other different subsidiary entities that are linked to or associated to Chelsea Football Club, right? If they've done that, and Roman isn't an owner of one of them, even if they freeze Roman assets, what has that got to do with the likes of Forstrom and all of these other entities that if he's not noted on there as a director? If what's going to stop Roman from sending funds now into these entities, so that if the day does come where he is sanctioned, there's money in these entities, is what I'm trying to say. Do you get what I mean? So what, like, planning ahead, what would stop him from doing it?
See, I get your question, and from what we know, right, these group of entities, these set of entities are actually referred to as group in any account statement, at least in Chelsea account statement, right? And this group is being controlled by one parent entity, which is Foxtrom Limited. But the sanction here would be actually levied on Foxtrom Limited and not on Chelsea Football Club or any of the subsidiary entity. So in essence, what it means is, if sanction is done for Foxtrom, it means that it's going to affect all its relevant parties.
But why would Forstrom be sanctioned? Are you saying that's because the legal owner of Forstrom is Roman?
Yeah, the owner right now is.
If the legal owner wasn't Roman, then they can't sanction it, can they? That's what I'm saying to you. Do they make you get what I'm saying? Like, he could be clever with it, couldn't he? Really, when you think about it.
VJ, I'm gonna say this: is there a possibility of him, like sending money through a different person's account, like? Is there some kind of loophole where you could
No, he can't.
Yes, what do you mean you can? What do you mean you can't? You actually doing it. We're actually doing it now.
Volunteering, man.
They just send it to his son, and son just sends money.
The thing is,
no. But first of all, the company that VJ talk about, it wasn't named Abramovich before. It was in Singapore. Then it moved to different. Oh man,
2014.
Yeah, it wasn't Abramovich that owned it supposedly.
Yeah,
it was some company. But
to answer your question, right? I don't know who asked that question, but it is probably what they do, right? See, the thing is, whatever we talk, is in terms of just the legal terms, maybe something associated with it. And these legal terms could differ geopolitically as well. Based on the geography as well. And I think he's already been advised by his legal advisors to actually take this action. And as a first step is what he's basically done this, right? And he will continue to find these loopholes that is in the constitution of the country. And this is not something that is just going to go get completed in a week or 2 weeks' time. I've seen one such Indian businessman who owned Force India. You guys would have seen in F1 Force India basically being sanctioned in India, and he has been dealing with UK government, Indian government for the last 10 years, and yet he is not properly put in jail or something, because for him it's more of a criminal case, so he was supposed to be in jail. For the last 10 years he's been dealing with it, and he is enjoying his life in the UK, right? So they always find ways through it. This is most probably the direct way that we are talking about, but of course these guys know how to circumvent it.
Yeah,
we're not billionaires because we're stupid.
Exactly.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Even with these sanctions and these assets freezings, if he knows that that's going that way, what's going to just put take him away from these associated entities and things like that, so that they don't get affected, so that they can kick on and still run on a day-to-day basis. That's what I'm trying to get at.
And plus,
it's more of a public image, right, Chen? It's more of a public image where you've got MPs calling in the parliament day in and day out talking about Chelsea Football Club and the footballing FA to regulate certain deals there.
Can I add something?
Basically, yeah, please.
Afterwards. Couch can, for example, what concerns me, it is what you said concerns you. It's even if the tough sanctions come in, what Abramovich can send the money into the club. For example, that's the big one. For example, and I have a question on that. Maybe VJ can ask it. For example, if sanctions do come to that point, not everybody respect those sanctions, is it? I mean, they can sanction only the countries that UK work with. That, for example, England work with. For example, if Abramovich owns the company in China, they cannot sanction him in China.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see where I'm going? So, for example, because Abramovich owns big stakes in China's market. So, for example, if Roman Abramovich would have opened the company in China, and all of a sudden Chinese company invest into the money into the Chelsea, UK cannot sanction because they can't control the China.
That is the whole reason. If I may just add to Alex's point, right? That is the whole reason why when sanctions are being levied by one country, they don't actually do like one country in particular. They often go for 4 or 5 countries or 10 countries together, where all of them come together to actually sanction this person, because the assets are distributed across globally, and all of them have to be sanctioned simultaneously. Otherwise, it's just that a matter of fact that he cannot do business in the country and he can do it somewhere else.
So at the moment, it's like a pressing in football. It's like pressing in football. If you press everybody presses, it's good. But if soon as Lukaku's not pressing, we struggle.
He buys a company in China because he can't. He's been sanctioned to send money to the UK, and then he funds the money into that Chinese company, and they just send the money from that. Then Chelsea assign him as an entity to Chelsea Football Club, and it's
I don't know if it's right, but it could work, right? I don't know.
I've got another example. It's like everybody shoots goal.
No, I'm trying. I don't like talking over people, so I'm just gonna wait.
It's like everybody shoots and goal. All the attackers they.
But didn't Man City do that with the naming rights and
then the Lukaku?
I was gonna bring that next.
Oh yeah. So I think
VJ,
I think realistically they wouldn't even risk it. I think we'll have a season like. Look, we went through a season with a transfer ban.
Declared.
I mean, yeah.
Wait a minute, please. So it's like all the attackers that they have a shot at goal, they miss, and then they're through the Lukaku one. He comes on his first shot, he scores. That's like the type.
Oh, come on.
No.
So what was that analogy?
Oh, that's
VJ, can I ask you a quick question?
Anyway,
Nathaniel, on that note,
what's the question? No, wait.
Yes, please.
What's the question?
Nathaniel, on that note, I have to kick you from the studio. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
I just wanted to ask.
That's the first time Jem did that.
Thank
Jem
you.
really does that.
Because
You've not done that for even class rep, right?
No. He brings class F.
Pressure may more get a
That's
win.
serious conversation.
Oh,
This guy's
listen.
still talking about
Bobby, I haven't talked to Bobby.
Sorry, Samuel, please go ahead. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, sorry. With what you explained, it explains a lot. Especially because remember when I asked the question about, I don't know if you were there, but about the pressures, because I said the pressure and sanctions are two different things. And with the sanctions, if it's from one country, it can't really do much if they got assets or businesses from other countries, because he can literally just go to another country, work with them, whatnot. However, what I would say to this, and sorry, I'm gonna condense it into like one quick question, and this is basically for the Chelsea fans. Is Abramovich going to be all right? That's the question in all of this, or is it still going to be a sticky situation for him?
You mean as an individual, a businessman, or as
the Russian,
as Chelsea, what's it called?
Russian owner of a Chelsea.
Yeah.
It is a sticky one. It depends
It's
how
a
long
tricky
before
one,
the problem goes. And
I mean, I'm pretty sure he, as a businessman, will be completely all right. But his connection with Chelsea Football Club could be a bit tricky one.
It's image. We're talking about image. Right?
Exactly, image. Exactly.
And like, if you look at the image, and like, even if he starts moving the club around, like you guys say, moving the interests, that's still not doing much for the image of what Chelsea Football Club are like. Like, what does that do with corporate sponsors when they see that he's trying to usurp, the sanctions?
And that has whole new that brings in a whole new problem in terms of the commercial revenue, right? And you wouldn't want that on any club because top clubs they actually run based on the commercial revenue, most part of it. As much as we fail to accept it, or we don't want to accept it, and we think the footballing sides are the reason, clubs are actually run by broadcasting revenues.
I agree with Dexter. Personally. That's why I keep mentioning about him having any sort of like ultimate links to any of these entities, because if there isn't, then you can't sanction something that supposedly is not in his name. It just doesn't work like that. Like,
Jem, the hypocrisy of the UK government sometimes. Some of the party in power now, Conservative Party, is mainly sponsored by people closer to Russia and closer to Putin. They're now going to mention them, obviously, because So they keep,
as you can see in the game, it's all about agendas.
I heard there was I don't know, I don't live in UK, but I heard one of the parliaments, I don't know because it's only two in the United States. One of those parties is like really, really close to Russia, so I don't know how.
I think it's the Tories. Because
somebody said conservative or something.
That's Boris Johnson law. They're all close with Roman. That's why when you probably seen the video when they were mentioning Roman Abramovich, half of them walked out because they didn't want to be associated with the guy that was calling out Roman. It's because they're all close.
I didn't see that.
No, I'll send you the link later.
Bobby, what do you want to say, my man? Because we're going to finish soon anyway.
Hey, hi, Jem. Sorry, I'm working, but I can't resist this topic. And I've just jumped on a device that's not so great, so I'm struggling to hear. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yeah,
we can.
Hear you clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly going to change the direction of conversation from the possibilities of certain things happening to the focus on the agenda. I'm so sickened and appalled by what's going on right now. The hypocrisy, the pretense to care about Ukraine. A lot of these people couldn't give a stuff about Ukraine. They're just in it to hurt Chelsea Football Club. And that's the saddest part of all of this. We have a situation where a lot of media sponsored agendas against this club are trying to take root even as far as in the seats of parliament. I think it should be resisted, certainly by the fans. I just think it has nothing to do with Ukraine. It's not going to stop Mr. Putin moving his troops, firing his missiles. They're getting on the back of Ukraine to vent their own specific agendas, as pathetic as it sounds. I mean, after all the stuff that happened in the League Cup final, the officiating, which also gives me concerns going into the Champions League, and all the stuff I'm hearing on the news. I'm so proud of the way Thomas Tuchel responded today. It's too much. They're trying to get in our heads. They're trying to destabilize us, and they're using this, guys. They're using this. Don't buy for 1 minute all this trash they're talking about. Oh, the people of Ukraine. They don't care. It's an agenda.
Yeah.
That's what it is. A
I can't
simple
disagree with that,
agenda.
I disagree because what's it called? Some people actually, loads of people do care about what's going on. It's not just about football. I don't think we have to speak about football all the time about it.
Is that Nathaniel?
People, yeah.
Is that Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Carry.
No, go ahead, Nathaniel.
Yeah, I was just saying, people do care because even before the Roman news came up, people were caring about it, and it's a much deeper root than just football, just Chelsea. Like, come on, man.
You're talking about the media.
Nathaniel, when did the war started? Can you tell me, please, when the war started?
The war started in February.
You see, that's the education.
It started longer than that, bro. There was something
it started in 2014.
2014 is where.
Yeah, Alex, you got to give him a break. They don't teach that at the school he's at now. Nathaniel, best you get a pen and paper, write it down. You're not going to get this lesson at school, man.
Yeah, watch your mouth. Anyway, but it didn't actually start 2014.
It's the truth, though. They don't teach it that much here, man.
I think what Bobby's mentioning in the media, we're not talking about the individual citizen of these countries. There's the media that's running an agenda.
A question.
My question is, like, when the United States attacked Iraq, did any Glazers got heat because they are supporting the Republican Party?
He's right. I actually agree with what Bobby's actually saying to a degree, to be honest. I do think that there's something. I do think it's weird. Like, you look at today's press conference, that wasn't right. That was weird. Like, to be putting him
and
under
there
pressure.
was Matt Law.
Oh, no, it's Matt
Law. Guys, you know,
the Aston Villa fan.
Sorry, I don't want to jump in on anyone. Because I can't hear you well, I might be cutting someone off. I don't know. Please, I apologize. But why I'm getting so pissed off is that, you know, all of a sudden, Yemen doesn't exist. There are children getting bombed and starved in Yemen. Nobody's questioning the Newcastle owners. You know, this has been going on for quite some time.
It's because you want to know why it is, Bobby?
To the hypocrisy and
because
the fact
UK
that
government
it
sells
is
in
a
those weapons.
specific agenda on the sports stage anyway.
You want to know why it is, Bobby? It's because it's basically one of them ones where you don't talk about it, like you condemn the crime until it's your boy. Like Saudi do a lot of business with the UK.
Let me talk about something.
And secondly,
Yemen.
One of the reporters
now.
said it. One of the reporters said it. It's because it's a blue-eye, blonde-hair people.
I've got a question. for Alex.
It's a lot more than that, man. It's not a third world country, apparently. That's why it's
Let me ask a question. Let me ask Alex.
It's because it's Russia, man.
I don't talk to you, Nathaniel. Just move on, please.
What's your thoughts on that they're not letting African people going on the train? Huh? What's your thoughts?
What? Listen, what Bobby said is what I've said to my close mates because it echoes even in a smaller circle. They're like my mates have come at me for banter, and they've jumped on this. They've jumped on the news, and they've jumped on Russian, and they're loving the cancel culture and this. And I said, yeah, this is great energy. I haven't seen this energy since World War II. This has been the only war since World War II because that's how everyone's making it out. You know, there's Ozil talked about the Uyghur Muslims in China, and look what happened to him. China went after the whole arsenal. You can't talk about them. They're in concentration camps. You can't talk about Palestinians. You can't talk about the people in Yemen. Americans been in war for the last 2 decades, and they have heaps of clubs. None of them answered the war.
John Cena had to learn Mandarin in apology.
You know that? You know, Alex, that apology was better than Lukaku's. I'll tell you that much.
Hey, Declan, you know what the funny thing is because a lot of these European left media, including American as well, they don't view Ukraine as a third world country. It's simple as that. They view Afghan or these other countries as third world. for some
You know
reason.
they don't care about
Declare,
Ukraine.
that's not the only war in Europe was since the World War II. You
Yeah,
forget about
what about
Yugoslavia.
All right,
in
Mr.
the
Historian.
bottom?
No. Sorry, you probably
Yugoslavia.
misunderstood. The energy that my friends had, right?
Oh,
Because this is the
I
only
see what you're
war.
saying.
I said, I go, this must be the only war since World War II, because no one talks about any other war. No one has this same energy that's going on now for any other war that's
Exactly.
since World War
So
II.
in Parliament today, they stated that Roman Abramovich is selling his London property, and the journalists are coming out saying that the government is taking too long to introduce sanctions, i.e., he's had enough time to.
You know, it's because Boris is gonna pick and choose whoever he sanctions the most. Like anyone that's close to the Tories, he'll do less for him. So he's like he even stated, I think, because I was watching the 5 p.m. announcement. He said that not all Russians are like bad or like even though they are linked. So
That's
my
the
feeling is
reason. No, that's the
Another
reason.
thing, remember when Europe
Fraser,
closed the
Turkey-
borders for the refugees to come, but all of a sudden, Poland was the number one country that did not want refugees.
Nice single one, 0.
This comment here,
Exactly.
this is the reason why Turkey are not a part of the EU. This is
They
part
are
of the reason
part of
why
EU.
Turkey's
What
part
you
of
talking
They're
about?
not EU. They're not EU.
Why not? Why
They're not
NATO
EU.
though? Why not?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
NATO
they're not.
though?
They're
Yeah,
not.
the
They're not
NATO,
part of the EU.
not
They're
EU.
NATO. They're not part of the EU.
Oh,
Yeah.
NATO. Yeah. Because Turkey took piece of Syria. They put the troops into Syria.
Yeah.
Did anybody got Galatasaray owners out?
No.
Or sanctioned?
But you know what? Funny enough, Turkey and Russia had their own problems not long ago. To be fair, with the you know, I think he was trying to cross the sea at a certain area of Turkey through Istanbul, and it kicked off with the Russian planes and all that stuff. I remember that. That was not long ago.
There wasn't that. There was a Russian plane that was in military in Syria, and they accusing that the plane was took across the Turkey border.
Yeah.
But it's like if they say
Hey,
Alex,
I'll tell you something quite interesting. On Turkey,
Alex is a historian, isn't he? So we can't. If you get something wrong, he blames us for it.
Jim sent you a tweet.
Anyway, right, okay.
Sent you a message.
Hide your face.
I am going to finish off in a second, but I just want to quickly click on this, which is what VJ has sent. So let's have a look at what VJ sent us. He sent us this. So these are the financial statements of Forstrom Limited for the year ending 30th of June 2021.
Ignore that because that is just one column, so you're not going to get anything out of that. But I just wanted to reiterate the 31st one, which says the controlling party. The directors consider Forstrom Limited to be the ultimate parent club of the group. By group, what they refer to is the 10 companies that are part of Forstrom, okay? And the ultimate controlling party is Mr. Roman Abramovich. The largest group of undertakings of which group accounts have been drawn up is that headed by Forstrom Limited. You get my point, right? That is where he is the controlling party, right? And when sanctions are put on him, that will have an impact on the club, directly or indirectly.
I hear that. Don't get me wrong. This, what you're reading now, is just an end of year's accounts statement, isn't it? This is what they probably present at the end of every year when they're.
Oh, we owe him less money now.
But no, that makes sense. Don't get me wrong. He's the controlling party, but it doesn't say that on the actual directorships of Forstrom. So even though he's a controlling party, where can they? Even though it says it there, they ain't going to take this as a legal binding document, which is an account statement, to use against him. It's got to be more than that. That's what I'm saying, VJ. They can't just use this document. Does that make sense?
I get your point.
I don't want to get too technical with it because I'm going really technical. It's because I do this anyway. I do this as a daily job.
Yeah, I get your point. This isn't a legally binding document or anything of that sort, right? But it's an account statement of the parent company, not even the subsidiary. Basically, you see the title. It's the Forstrom Limited's account statement. So
end of years.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could still consider that to an extent. But again, when we have to, we don't have the organization structure per se. You get my point, right? It's not available to us publicly. So publicly, whatever information is available to us actually says this is what it is, right?
No,
and that's where, and that's where I'm a bit, kind of on
You'd have to present. You would have to present a legal binding document to show that he is the controlling party of Fortune. This right here, as much as I agree that it's there, and it shouldn't. If they must have something in, another document to show that this document itself.
It would still be considered a bit of. I mean, I'm not sure about the UK laws, but then if the same document was actually provided in the courts of India, it would be considered as the legal document, because this is what will be used for annual taxation and everything. So
this is just a yearly financial statement. This is generated once a year to show how the company's run the year before. That is literally what that is. So that is what you get from your accountant. Your accountant literally gives you that to pay your taxes and whatever else that you got.
Absolutely. This is something that you get from your auditor. So in this case, it would be KPMG who did the audit. What I'm trying to say is, I'm not saying this document proves anything, right? But then this document is what we basically have, which is in an open forum. And legal documents are not publicly available, right? Whatever legal documents that are being signed across and stamped with the UK with the government seal generally isn't publicly available. So with the available document, isn't it fair enough? Isn't it fair to assume that he is basically the controlling party?
Of course he is, 100%. If they would not have put this in the accounts to show that the controlling parties and have these names stated, if there isn't a document in place, they wouldn't be able to do it anyway. So maybe there is something else to show that. But what's to say that he changes that before he gets sanctions? He can do, but there's a lot of things he can do, can't he?
And that's where I rely on their legal advisors to do that. I mean, it's still completely possible. But then, a lot of technicalities and legal stuff associated with it, and they'll always find ways through it. Yeah,
it's all with some buts, really, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's so many loopholes that your legal team can actually help you use against sanctions or anything against you to freeze your assets or etc. But he's probably well ahead. He probably knows what they are. He probably knows what he needs to do if he's in. Roman Abramovich is a businessman. He's a billionaire and he's a businessman. He's not stupid. Do you know what I mean?
Yep. And plus you have to think of the era when he made his money. It was a dog-eat-dog era. Everyone was after whatever asset you can grab after the collapse of the Soviet Union. So he's a smart guy. I think business-wise, he will be fine. I'm just worried about some of the link.
Yep, the relation to Chelsea is what he's worried. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. All right. I am going to sum it up there, guys. Is there anything else anyone wants to say before we shoot off?
Yeah, one more thing. We got the vibranium, and Johnny. I'm not gonna come up. Yeah, he just said, "What?
Give Nathaniel some homework, bro."
I've seen his Twitter. He's defended Mason Mount. He said if we criticize him, we're plastic. He said we're plastic.
Bro, if he comes down, bro, you're gonna have to fight him, man. If he ends up from
boy, man. I saw his interview on Chelsea Fan TV. Johnny is an actor, man. I'm telling you, this guy.
Oh no, don't be calling out.
No. He acts.
Anyway, on that note. I ain't here to
don't be calling up
about other people. So make sure that the like button. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Make sure you get yourself 100 likes. I think we're only
no super chats today.
It don't matter, man. Relax.
This is not the day. I said to you, we do. Generally we talk.
This is the day, bro.
Control each other on a daily basis, but today was meant to be.
Today was just meant to be normal, formal, and legal.
No trolling today. Go on the space on Twitter. There's loads of them that you can go and troll on and do that right now.
Did you stop the live? Did you stop the broadcast?
No, I haven't. I am going to now. make sure you smash the like button, guys. Subscribe to the channel.
Kick him backstage,
Pick up everyone, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Peace out.